Well, it's been a while, hasn't it, guys? So when I was a kid, we always looked up to sports stars. I wanted to be the #1 soccer player. I wanted to be the #1 skateboarder, Rodney Mullen. All of these things together. How does this relate to Diablo 3 and a new Diablo 4 game? These days, video games replace sports. That's why you see upset parents and weird media stories.
Matt, Fortnite is the latest video game kids can't get enough of, but when does a bit of harmless fun turn into an unhealthy obsession?
Reality is, video games are replacing sports for a whole lot of kids. They want to be like Ninja.
There are reports that you're making more than $500,000 a month.
Because that's the world and the environment that they live in. Well, when Diablo 2 came out, it's where I sunk most of my time. So the question is, what happens when you take away something as big as a sport, or in this case, a video game, from someone who's a die-hard fan? So the main topic today is to talk about Diablo 4, some of the big challenges that they're going to have to bring out this game. There is no way, if you loved a Diablo game, you haven't thought about when is the next one going to come out. So I use the analogy around sports and kids these days playing Fortnite and other titles like that. So to have a Diablo 2 take 12 years to release a Diablo 3, that was huge. It was a massive part of my life. It was enormous. If you play Diablo 2, you know exactly the feeling that I'm talking about. Well, Diablo 3 is in that peak position, prime position, where it's very close to either bring out a new series or a major update to the game. What the hell is the delay about? So to understand this process, you have to know how the video game industry has changed. Remember, Diablo 3 got released in 2012. It's a very long time ago. In fact, it was at the very peak where you can buy a video game, buy the box, get it, play it, have some fun. Microtransactions did exist. There were business models that were new, but they were very new for that time. Blizzard Entertainment introduced the real money auction house.
When we originally set up the auction house, this was supposed to be a safe and convenient way for you to trade items.
The long story short is to have a loot-based game that you can spend real money on to get the items completely destroys the experience. The thought process going through the development team, I assume at the time, was Diablo's not a competitive game. Trading already existed in the previous title, so it's probably going to be okay. They were fucking awfully wrong. So the main point of the story is Diablo 3's biggest challenge is their business model. Let's take a look at Overwatch and its success. You might think the game is dead right now on YouTube or on Twitch. It's completely irrelevant. The business model is what matters. Overwatch is a premium product. It charges a box price, but it also has ongoing transactions through its loot box system that you can literally sink $100 and still not get the item you want. You know what's cool about the Overwatch loot box system though? Is it doesn't feel like you're wasting your money away. You know what you signed up for. You want to get that awesome cosmetic item, that brand new skin that you can put on your character. You know there's a good chance that you're not going to get it though. This is completely different from moving forward in a game's progression by spending money. For Diablo 4 to be released, it needs a 360 business model. And I'm borrowing that term from record labels, right? You get money from tickets, from touring. Overwatch has managed to do that. It's a competitive game, pay the box price, you have the options of cosmetics, but there's a massive amount of income hidden beneath this. Sponsorships for their ongoing esports, the Overwatch League, which I'm a huge fan of, is worth a lot more than you actually think. Blizzard Entertainment knew that when they brought out Overwatch, they have to support this game and its servers and its developers for the next 10 to 15 years. This is an incredibly long life cycle for a video game. Usually if a game's super successful, you get about 2.5 years. And that's why we're seeing Overwatch kind of struggle right now on Twitch and on YouTube in general. So it's quite clear that if Blizzard Entertainment want to bring out Diablo 4, they have to appeal to hardcore fans like myself with a very, very good business model. But unfortunately, the game genre just doesn't really support it that well. I'm not going to dumb you guys down. You've played Diablo 3. When you put items on, it changes your visual appearance. The only option that you've got is changing that tiny little banner on the right side or wings. That's the small option they've got for cosmetics. Honestly, not really a defining business strategy. The other option is games like Heroes of the Storm. So many brand new characters at the same time. The difference between Heroes of the Storm and Diablo 3 though is Heroes of the Storm's skill tree is this big. Diablo 3 spent an amazing amount of time and effort just to get the characters that they've got in the game. There's no reasonable way of adding in new characters at the rate that Heroes of the Storm does. So just like cosmetics, the second challenge stands in the way as well. You have to remember, Diablo 3 is the 4th best PC game of all time. Even though it was quite a long time ago when the game came out, there are so many fans that are just frothing to play a brand new Diablo game. The interest is there. The progression is time spent rather than mechanical skills. The idea of a competitive PvP esports with sponsorships, tickets, so on, just doesn't really exist for this type of game. For Blizzard Entertainment to bring out a Diablo 4, the #1 challenge is how do they monetize in a modern business model that most AAA games are managing to do without just the box price itself. Problem number 2, modern action RPGs are amazing. The technology behind them, their sales are incredible as well. Dark Souls, hard to play, super fun and rewarding. The Witcher 3, these massive open worlds, and even to throw it out there like GTA, it's a completely different genre, but you guys get the point. This top-down isometric view is really a product of the 90s. And while it feels comfortable for myself, extremely normal, I don't even think about. Reality is there are a lot of young people playing and buying video games right now where that particular view is actually abstract and dated in its appearance. Graphically, if we take out the stylization of the characters and all of the systems from a camera angle of a game that came out in the 2000s, which was an updated version of a game that came out in the 90s. So there's that critical decision that these developers have to make, and I would never put myself in their shoes to try and come up with a solution to this. Do we change the whole entire soul and feeling of a Diablo game and lean more towards a modern action RPG, put the camera up front with the hero, have monsters coming in from the sides, and not this dated isometric view? This is a huge consideration to take in. How do you not isolate 95% of the player base who love this franchise by trying something completely radical and new? I mean, you'd almost have to rebrand it as a completely different game. Now let's talk about some of the competitors. A lot of people feel like Path of Exile was a more successful game than Diablo 3. I'm not going to challenge any of your opinions about this. I really don't care. It's completely irrelevant to the point that I'm trying to make here. There are a lot of really good action RPGs that did what Diablo 3 tried to do, but a little bit better. But this topic doesn't stop with Path of Exile. As you guys know, we've got games like Lineage Eternal and Lost Ark. Now these are leaning way more heavily into the MMO space rather than the action RPG arcade style of Diablo 3. The MMO is really just action RPG in nature. It takes a very long time to kill stuff, it's raids. It really does feel like a completely different genre. In my personal opinion, it just kind of looks like Diablo 3 and has some similar structures to it. So the reason why I'm bringing these games up is because the idea of a massive brand like Blizzard Entertainment that can create billion-dollar franchises like Overwatch, bringing out a new MMO-styled action RPG is completely bonkers to me. There is no way they're going to bring out an MMO action RPG. I want to leave you guys with something a little bit positive. I've had a lifelong relationship with this game. I look forward to what they do in the future. I truly believe that they are going to bring out a new game. Just underneath the surface, Blizzard Entertainment are slowly building a team of very talented developers that a lot of us don't get to see. We see job listings come up and go, come up and go. It's quite clear that the universe is not ended. They are still building on this franchise. That's what makes me excited about this, because there's one thing that Blizzard Entertainment has always done very well. Let's make amazing video games. No matter how you feel about Diablo 3 today, or even its previous titles, I think that the Diablo franchise is way too strong to the Blizzard brand to sink and die. Even though it has been 6 years since the last release, you gotta remember the gap between Diablo 2 to Diablo 3 was 12 years. So here's all the information that I can possibly think about. onto you guys with my new set. Thanks for watching. See you later, friends.